Adam Secretary after a new NCIS Los Angeles. CBS Tonight.
We'll get those brackets ready. It is Selection Sunday, kicking off March Madness. 68 college basketball teams will be battling for the national championship. Adam Zagoria from Zagsblog.com, also a New York Times contributor, is here to kind of break down some of the madness. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you.
So for people who don't know at home, Selection Sunday is what? Just briefly.
Well, today, Andrea, at 5:30 on CBS, the NCAA Selection Committee will announce the 68 teams in the NCAA tournament. 36 teams get at-large bids. So those are the teams
already in.
Well, 32 get automatic bids from winning their tournament, and 36 get at-large. So
Gotcha.
A lot of people on pins and needles.
Exactly. Okay, so let's talk about some of the action yesterday. The Big East, Villanova and Creighton. Villanova coming out on top. They're the defending national champions.
Yeah, well, last night was a historic night in New York City, Andrea. It was the first time ever two major conference championship games were held in the same night in New York City. First, you had the Big East game. Villanova wins, and they certainly look like a team that could repeat, win back-to-back championships.
Let's talk about the ACC, because that was at this was at the Garden, right? And then ACC was at Barclays, and that was Duke and Notre Dame. And Duke has had a crazy few days.
Yeah, they're the first team ever, Andrea, to win 4 games in 4 days at the ACC tournament, which, of course, is here in New York for the first time in 2 years. Duke could be a 2 seed today.
That's the question. Where is this? Yeah, where are they going to fall?
Yeah,
right?
And they could potentially be in the East, where they might play Villanova at the Garden in 2 weeks. Watch out for their freshman Jason Tatum, future NBA freshman, one and done.
And what about Notre Dame? What do you like about this team?
Well, they're just a very balanced team. Coach Mike Bray is one of the best in the business. Doesn't really get as much attention as some of the other coaches, but very balanced. They space the floor. They shoot it well. And they're a team that could, make a Sweet 16 or make a run.
Let's talk about some local teams, starting with Syracuse. A lot of Syracuse fans here in the city, of course, and they made it to the Final Four last year.
Yeah, well,
can they repeat it?
It's interesting because Syracuse wasn't sure they were going to get in last year. The committee ends up putting them in as a 10 seed, and they make a Final Four. This year, they're going to be sweating it out a little bit because they did lose in the first round of the ACC tournament to Miami. Coach Jim Boeheim was very controversial in his comments this week, basically saying it didn't matter where the ACC tournament, shouldn't be in Greensboro, it should be in New York, but they're going to be sweating it out a little bit today.
Iona, New Rochelle, they had an amazing overtime win against Siena this week.
Yeah, Iona comes out of that MAC conference now 4 out of the last 6 years under Coach Tim Cluis. They could be a 15 seed, pretty low, but they could give somebody problems early on.
Exactly. Okay, Seton Hall, they're also kind of sweating it out, right?
Well, no, they're in.
Are they in?
The amazing thing is 7 of the 10 Big East teams, 70% of the teams in the league are going to get in. Seton Hall really helped themselves by winning their final regular season game against Butler, and then, of course, they lost to Villanova in the Big East tournament semifinals.
Let's talk about a couple other national favorites. UNC.
Yeah, the Tar Heels are in position for a #1 overall seed. They did lose to their rival Duke in the ACC semis on Friday night, but they still could get a #1 seed today, and they're one of the teams that could win it all in Phoenix. They're very balanced, very experienced. Of course, they lost to Villanova in last year's final.
All right, Kansas lost to TCU this week, but they're also one of the top teams to watch.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say Kansas, Villanova, and North Carolina are probably your 3 favorites, maybe along with Gonzaga on the West Coast. Frank Mason is Kansas's senior point guard, probably the National Player of the Year, and Bill Self is one of the best coaches in the country.
All right, so who are you picking to win it all?
After what I saw this week and last night, I don't think you can go wrong picking against Villanova to repeat.
Really?
And if they do that, that would be the first team in 10 years since Florida, 2006, 2007.
Because they have a lot of returning players.
You look at Josh Hart, their senior, you look at his resume, he's won 1 national championship, 2 Big East tournament championships, and 4 Big East regular season championships. And now those seniors, he and Chris Jenkins and Darryl Reynolds, have a chance to win a 2nd NCAA title.
Thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome.
A lot of sleepless nights coming up for you watching all of this and keeping track of it. Adam, thank you. We appreciate it. And you can watch all the March Madness action on 4 TV networks over the next several weeks, including CBS. And don't forget, Selection Sunday coverage begins right here on CBS-2 at 5:30. Cindy, over to you.
Well, I hope you remember to spring forward. Losing an hour doesn't seem like a lot for adults, but for your children, it could make